everybody, welcome back. So today I am going to be making fried bread, which is pretty much Native American bread. It's fairly simple to make and kind of hard to mess up. So if you want to know how, just keep on watching. So far what I have done is I've added 3 cups of flour, and I am going to add 2 cups of milk. Now, if you need more flour or more milk once you start mixing the ingredients, then you can go ahead and do that. I just find it easier to work with a little at a time. That way your dough doesn't come out too sticky to where it's impossible to roll out, or if it's just too dry. So here I'm going to go ahead and mix in the milk with the flour until the flour completely absorbs all the milk. Right now, when it's at this sticky stage, I like to mix it with a spoon, and then later on I'll end up using my hands once the dough isn't as sticky as it is. So we're just going to continue to mix this. As you can see right now, it's really sticky, and that's going to be impossible to roll out. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I am going to add about a tablespoon of baking powder. Sorry, completely forgot for a minute. So I went ahead and mixed in the baking powder, tablespoon of baking powder, and I added another half a cup of flour because it was just too sticky. And this is what your dough should look like. So now that it's perfect the way that I want it, what I'm going to do is set the dough out, rinse the bowl out, clean it up, dry it up, put the dough back in there, and then I am going to cover it and let it rise for about 30 minutes. You can do, I say 15 minutes the least, maybe even 20 the least, but I just let mine sit for 30 minutes, however long you want your bread to sit. The longer it sits, the more it'll rise. And once I'm done, we will be back. Alright, so it's been about 30 minutes and the dough has risen. It is looking nice and plump, just the way that it should. It doesn't stick too much. It's perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to put flour on my cutting board and flour on my rolling pin, and then I am going to rip a little piece of dough off at a time, roll it up in a ball, get the flour to cover it, and then I'm going to roll it out. So once you're done rolling out all your dough, you're going to fry it. You can do as much or as little as you like to. When I'm rolling out the dough, I only like to use enough for like that meal because it tastes way better fresh as to when you go back later. This is what it should look like once you roll it out, and I like to also put it on a separate plate just so it's set aside. When you do set it on a plate and you start stacking up your bread that you have already previously rolled out, I recommend that you put a little bit of flour in between those layers. That way they don't stick together. So I'll be back when we're ready to fry. Alrighty, so now that I'm done, we are getting ready to fry. I have the oil already sitting. I had it sitting for about 5 minutes, so that way it's ready when you put your bread in. And you're just gonna let it fry on each side until it is nice and brown. So the bread has been cooking for about 3 to 5 minutes. I like to move it around a little just to make sure that it is evenly brown on all sides. Sometimes it is hard because the bread does bubble up, but just try to get it as best as you can. And I am going to flip this bread over and show you how it should look. So I flipped it over and it's not completely brown, but I do want the other side to cook as well, and I don't want it to burn. So what I do is I flip it in like over a couple times before it's completely done. When I am cooking, I do have my stove on in between high and low, so it's not too high to where it burns, and it's not too low where it just doesn't cook at all. And I'm gonna flip it over again and cook the other side. Another thing that I do recommend doing is your first time cooking it, I feel like you should do a little piece of bread as a tester to make sure you're cooking it through all the way, because if you have your bread on too high, it's going to brown easy, but the middle is still going to be raw. And if you cook it too low, you're just going to be sitting there forever trying to get it to brown. So you're almost done. I flipped it again. As you can see, it's got some color to it now, and it's looking nice and brown and starting to get on both sides. So it is almost done. So now you can see that that side is nice and brown. That's how it should look. And I'm just gonna try to cook that little indent in the bread a little more, but it is pretty much done. So this is what it should look like. Nice and brown on both sides. Try not to burn myself, but this is how it should look like. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna continue to fry the rest of the bread, and as soon as I am done, I will be right back to show you the finished result. Alrighty, so I am done, and this is what it should look like, and I cannot wait. So I am gonna try some for you guys right now. Honestly, you guys, I have not had this in so long because it is, it can be fattening if you eat it often. Literally haven't had it in about maybe about a good year, and oh my goodness, it tastes so good. I honestly forgot how delicious this freaking bread was. It's delicious. Alrighty, you guys, so now that I'm done, I did serve this with Mexican rice. If you would like to know how to do that, I did do a video on that. You can go ahead and watch it. I did not have the clip. I completely forgot to film me and how I made the meat. But all I did was boil the chicken and used a can of chile con carne beans, and I mashed the beans up and then mixed the chicken in completely after I shredded it, just to make sure all the beans was on the chicken. And now you can just top it with whatever toppings you like on your tacos or your tostadas. So here I put lettuce, tomatoes, and cheese, but that is it. You can put whatever toppings you like, whatever you prefer. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave a comment down below of what you would like to watch. I would most definitely do those videos, or what you would like to learn. But this is the finished product. So good. Yum.